One of those guys, Joel Dragan, who's the executive director of the largest sports governing body in the state of Florida. That's the Florida Youth Soccer Association, an organization that was recruited and moved their headquarters to Polk County, more specifically to Lake Myrtle, a beautiful building there, and now with a brand new stadium out there. Soccer's just taken off. It's just absolutely an exciting sport to watch and participate in. It's almost now a sport that's from cradle to grave. We talk about some sports that have that built in. But in this particular case, we were talking earlier, actually off camera, about getting the younger kids involved, Jack. But Joel Dragan is with us today, executive director. He's seen a lot of soccer in his young years, but very successful years. Joel, thanks so much for joining us. Looking awful spiffy today, all dressed up. Usually it's a pair of shorts and, polo shirt.
I appreciate it. Yeah. A lot of soccer, especially lately. Springtime, as you mentioned, is our busiest time of year. Yeah. We are out there. We are at the fields, particularly Lake Myrtle Sports Complex, our home. We are just happy to be a part of Polk County. And I say it all year long, but it's particularly important this time of year. The hub of all youth soccer really is here in Polk County at Lake Myrtle Sports Complex. All of our final championships for teams all the way across the state all culminate and have the finals right here in Polk County at Lake Myrtle Sports Complex.
Well, it's kind of it's the hub, but when you think about sports, you want to go to Yankee Stadium if you're a baseball player. You don't want to go to Lambeau Field if you're in football, or some of these other Heinz Field. I don't know, they call it Heinz Field anymore, Jack. But and for there you can just go right down the line, and Lake Myrtle is really it for soccer. And so all these kids, aspire to. Endeavor, I don't know whether fancy word to come up with, to be here, to be competing at the top level.
Everybody knows that the finals will be at Lake Myrtle, and we are just so pleased to have the crown jewel of all of our competitions. We're talking about the State Cup in particular. All finishes in May at Lake Myrtle, but everybody starts regional, right? As you said it earlier, I mean, soccer is a game for the kids to start, and at that youngest age group, some of these kids are starting at 3-4 years old, and they can play under our association all the way up until they're 19. And we start running the championships at 13, like I said, all the way through 19, and it's just such a special time of year for what we do at Florida Youth Soccer. And I always like to mention this number, the 108,000 players that we represent across the entire state.
I mean, to me, that's just absolutely unbelievable when you think about that quantity of kids. But when they come to Polk County, and this is the business of sports, the business of tourism, heads and beds, making cash registers ring, and with soccer, as opposed to, I'll use basketball for an example. They don't bring as many others with them. Soccer does. It's more family oriented. Sure. And so on. I mean, Jack, you've seen it throughout your reporting career as an editor and publisher and all of that stuff.
I always like to say a soccer tournament winds up looking like a Bedouin village. It's just got all the tents built up around it.
How did I know we'd land ourselves at heads and beds and registers ringing here talking with you two? But yeah, it's absolutely true. Our finals, while there's not a huge number of teams, we're talking about semifinals and finals weekend, you're seeing mom, dad, brother, sister, uncles, grandparents all coming up. The sidelines are full. And to talk about that project that you mentioned earlier, the stadium project out there at Lake Myrtle, that is just going to add to it. Thousands of people can fit in there, and we are just so proud to be a small, but I hope ever-growing part of the sports landscape in Polk County.
So tell us about your segment of the soccer market.
Sure.
So you guys are travel teams. So just to make that difference from it's so you've got your rec soccer, and you've got this. So
when you're talking about our competitions, yes, we're talking about travel teams, sure. But the 108,000 players that I mentioned earlier really is across the gamut. Those are 3, 4-year-olds all the way up to 19-year-olds who are going to go play at some of the biggest colleges in the United States. So, and it's everything in between. I like to say it's from the Panhandle to the Keys. We've got a really good presence even in the Keys. When we're talking about our competitions, yes, those are the highest level. We've got 3 competitions that all culminate to the finals in Lake Myrtle. It's our Commissioner's Cup, our President's Cup, and our State Cup. We've done 2 of the 3 already.
What's the difference between those events? You know, I mean, okay, we have 3 events. What's the difference?
Well, there's lots of events that lead to it. The finals all show up there, but really it is the level. The highest level of club soccer tournament in the entire state is going to be your State Cup. That's the very top. And just a small step below it is the President's Cup. Both of these are part of a national championship series, and they will go on from winning at their state level to the regional level and then hopefully to the national level. Florida, whether a lot of people know it or not, is one of the best states for soccer in the entire nation. We are constantly putting teams into the national championship, dozens of teams into the regional championship, and they have a lot of success. There's so much passion for soccer here in the state of Florida, and it really translates to success on the field as well. Last but not least is certainly our Commissioner's Cup. The Commissioner's Cup is a in-state event only, and it's, I like to say it's uniquely Florida. There's 4 regions, and each region will crown a champion, and then come, once again, to Lake Myrtle, where all the finals happen, to crown a statewide champion of the Commissioner's Cup. And a lot of that competition is a little bit younger of the age groups, but it's really, really well done, and we just take so much pride. Our competitions staff, our competitions department, our whole staff, our board of directors are really just proud of the events that we can put on there, from the vendors to the staging to the pageantry that we call it, and the excitement. It's really, really important to the future of our association and hopefully the county.
So a little background on you. You're a Michigan guy.
I sure am.
So you go from Michigan to Kansas to Florida. Tell us about the journey through soccer.
Well, I like to say I'm working my way south.
Okay.
I've worked for 3 different state associations who do something very similar to what we do here in the state of Florida. I was executive director of Kansas Youth Soccer prior to coming here, and Michigan Youth Soccer. I was there for 9 years prior to moving to Kansas. So this has really been pretty much the totality of my professional career, and I'm just so fortunate and so blessed to be able to be in any sports, but let alone soccer, a sport that I love as much as I do. So I like to say I'm working my way south. The weather is much better down here, and of course we've got the Flying Tigers connection from my Detroit days.
Well, I know that you enjoyed some of the spring training games this year. How do you think the Tigers are going to do? I mean, you got an inside track to that.
Oh boy, you know, they've already had a 5-game win streak this year, and I wasn't sure if we were going to see a 5-game win streak all year long. So I'm very happy with some of the young guys that we've got up and coming, but you can't set your expectations higher than they should be. That's for sure.
You know, that's about as diplomatic of an answer as you can make.
Didn't make it here without a few of those answers.
You know, being from Michigan. And we have a lot of Polk County residents now, formerly from Michigan, coming down. Obviously, the weather and the amenities, the quality of life here is really second to none. And, you know, as you grew up, you know, now your vocation is a professional. You're an executive director, the state's largest sports governing body. Did you play soccer, or were you a baseball guy? I mean, I think Jack was hinting at that a little bit earlier, but I'm going to push it one step further. How did you get into this?
Of course I played soccer. I played recreational soccer, I played travel soccer, but I will say it was probably my worst sport. I played any sport under the sun, and like most young Michiganders, I played a lot of ice hockey. Just up there, it's almost like the seasons are flipped. So lots of hockey, lots of American football, as I tell people, but I've always had a special place for soccer in my heart, and to again, just be so fortunate to lead the charge for youth soccer in this state. I think count my blessings every day. I really do.
Well, that's a great approach, and under your leadership, we have seen, when I say we, and the sports professionals in Polk County have seen more changes in soccer in this state, positive changes, not change for the sake of change, positive change than at any time in my knowledge of soccer history in Florida. You've done a marvelous job, and I know that Michigan soccer, passionate up there. Kansas is unbelievable. They've got some great programs and some large numbers there as well. But right here, really in the hub of soccer for the state of Florida, you've done a great job.
Well, between being called a celebrity, a VIP, and that comment, I will take it. Mark, I really do appreciate it. Just so pleased with the partnership that we have, and the communication is great. I'm just so pleased to be a part of the community, and you guys have been so welcoming for all of the people who come into Polk County to participate in our events. It has been fantastic.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time. I know you've got a very busy schedule coming up, and once again, congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you, Mark.
You bet. If you enjoyed this interview and want to watch more Sports Central, click the video below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.